Wait, Zoom eats up some bandwidth. I got nothing else open, and I just tried to like open Chrome to
And you
to
guys
my
are live.
edits.
Hold on.
Over.
I'm gonna put it live right now.
Okay.
And you're on.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the technical issues. Hopefully everybody can hear me now. Um, Thank you so much for joining. So I'm going to go ahead and try to jump straight into it now. So, um, we went ahead and created this because we saw that um, a lot of the AI software out there that it's really only targeting certain portions of the process. As you may know or not, Turing was developed by experts in BD and proposals. So one thing that we wanted to speak about today is why most AI capture software really is covering these certain areas, but there is a big gap there. And that gap really is capture and showing how exactly that is that it affects teams today. So here, let me get myself. I am Ellen Runo. I am the VP Business Development for Turing. Along with that, I also do have over close to 17 years now of experience in proposals and capture for working for companies all the way from small to large, working with companies like QED International and working with AT&T. And now putting that into helping other teams and working with our software. So I'm happy to have here with us Brian Ramsher, also one of our advisors. Go ahead, Brian, you can introduce yourself.
Sure, thanks, Ellen. Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Ramser. I am a proposal and capture consultant. I'm also the co-founder of Oakleaf Ventures, and we provide proposal capture search support and business development consulting to the federal contracting industry. I've been in this industry in the proposal and capture space for more than 20 years. Kind of my entire career has been in proposal management and capture management. And I've worked for all kinds of businesses, large businesses, small businesses, 8A, Alaska Native corporations most recently. And I'm pleased to be on the board of advisors for Turing, working with Ellen and Arthur to develop Proposal Pilot and the other Turing tools that we're going to talk about a little bit. Happy to be here. Happy to share my thoughts and my insights on the capture process and kind of the state of the industry as we all work to kind of integrate these AI tools into our BD life cycle. So Ellen, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. So today, just quickly, what we're going to going over is basically going and looking at basically what is capture. I'm sure most of you have a pretty good idea, but just kind of giving us a baseline. The problem that we're seeing with what is currently out there and looking at what that actually does have an effect on companies. And we will have some time at the end to potentially try to answer some of the questions. Even though we're starting kind of late, we'll see how much time we have. So I'll go ahead and start with looking at what actually capture is. So one of the things we thought we'd pull up first is looking at it from someone in our industry, looking at a definition that many may know. So looking at it with Shipley, capture management as a disciplined, proactive process of qualifying specific business opportunities, analyzing competitors, and developing tailored win strategies to improve the probability of win. So it's really three parts to it. So whenever we're looking at it, it involves that portion of involving influencing the custom requirements, you're really looking at it from an approach of not just you're not just getting the opportunities, you're analyzing and being able to develop that specific strategies to be able to work and develop actually your strategy part of especially when you're going into the RFP process, right? So it equals really that's why I like the where we have it. Capture really equals the development strategy. It's not only a process of looking for those opportunities, really. It has to do trying to get that information that comes from that intimacy from getting that information that it comes from as you gathering through that time. So I'm going to go ahead and pass to Brian.
Sure. So actually, Ellen, if you want to go back to that previous slide, I just a couple things I want to point out on this slide before we start getting into kind of where are the issues with the capture tools, particularly AI capture tools and things like that that we see in the industry today. So within this definition of capture, one that we thought starting with the capture definition was a good way to start because there's a million ways to define capture, and everyone and every company kind of has their own nuance to it. So we wanted to get to a baseline of kind of just for the context of this discussion, what is capture, right? And this is Shipley's definition, but it's encapsulating a lot within these, as Ellen said, these three areas, right? Qualifying specific business opportunities, area one, analyzing competitors, area two, and developing tailored win strategies to improve the probability of winning. There's a couple of terms in here, words in here that I want to highlight. One is proactive, right? Of course, this happens before the RFP, before anything kind of happens. It's identifying opportunities. The other one is specific business opportunities. So there's a difference between capture management and business strategy. There's a difference between capture management and pipeline management. One of the things I told, as Ellen and Arthur and I worked on this presentation, was one of the questions I liked to ask people in job interviews when I was hiring proposal managers, capture managers, was tell me your definition of capture management. How is capture management different than business development? How is capture management different from proposal management? And you get a bunch of different answers because of where people have worked in their life experiences and their career experiences. But we need to get to kind of a what are the three main things, right, for capture development in terms of like putting some parameters around this discussion. And I think those three things are really great. So and I love the tagline on this one.
Yeah, no, I
I
was
love
gonna
the
say,
tagline.
yeah, I was
Capture.
gonna say with that, that it was really great to like when you were mentioning that because the whole thing is like, I remember seeing that more than not where people do get that so confused whenever it comes to that those defining like categorization. Go ahead,
And you
sorry.
see this confusion kind of in the tools going forward, and you see that kind of overlap of some of the things and what's being called capture tools are they really capture tools or are they something else? So I love the tagline. Capture is not opportunity discovery, or I would say it's not just opportunity discovery. So Ellen, if you want to go to the next slide. So what do most capture tools answer? So this is the confusion over what is capture is kind of leaking over into what is a capture tool supposed to do and what is a capture tool supposed to help you do. And the majority of the tools on the market these days, everything from, I mean, there's been capture tools that will help you identify what you should chase, what you should pursue for years. My entire career, GovWin, BGov, even, just SAM.gov, the countless other GovTribe, countless other ones that have popped up and gone down and popped up and come down will help you identify opportunities that your company might be qualified for. And they scrape SAM.gov or they scrape GovWin or they scrape FPDS and they'll try to align millions of opportunities to the qualifications of your company. And that's really great for helping you populate your pipeline, right? Filling the top part of that funnel before it comes down to the opportunity. But that's not really capture. That's not what makes the difference between P-win and P-loss, winning and losing, right? Is not just identifying the opportunities and what opportunities are out there that your company might be qualified for, because I guarantee you there's thousands of opportunities your company is qualified for and could do. Are you going to win thousands of proposals by just shooting off random things at bluebirds? No, you're not. So the capture tools right now are more kind of reporting tools or pipeline development tools, in my estimation, in my opinion. If folks on the call disagree, raise a hand under the chat. We can't see you, but Zoe will pass those along. So what we need is capture tools that really answer the question, are we doing the work required to win? Those other two parts, right? Competitive analysis, and in particular, solution development, win theme development, and those tailored specific things that are going to differentiate your proposal from the countless others. In the market right now, we're seeing the proliferation of proposal AI tools, some of varying quality. I'm a little biased. I think Turingon's proposal pilot is the best tool out there. But there's lots of other tools. And in addition to the proposal specific tools, then you've got just, generally ChatGPT and Claude and these other things that are really, really good at cranking out compliant proposals. But we all know it takes a lot more than compliance to win, right? It's not just, are you qualified? Do you have the past performance? Can you do network engineering, right? Everyone can do that. The shaping and the tailoring and the development of your solution to that specific opportunity is crucial, and more crucial now in the industry than it's ever been before, because the ability to put forth a valid, awardable proposal is a lot easier for a lot more companies these days. So your customers are going to receive a lot more proposals. And how do you make yours stand out? The only way to differentiate is to get in with that customer, get what they're really after, and work that into your proposal. And you do that through the capture process. And the tools on the market these days are not providing the accountability and the transparency into that, like the real heart, the real meat of what it is to do proposals. Things like CRM tools, like Salesforce, Technomile, Power BI, all of those kinds of tools that provide dashboards and things are really just presenting, here's what we're chasing. Here's what we're looking at. Here's what we're tracking. I'm sure we've all heard people say, oh, we're tracking that opportunity. Well, it takes a lot more than tracking to capture an opportunity, right? GovCon tracks opportunities. They track millions of them every day, and they give you estimated RFP dates and all this other things and that. But just going on that is not going to be successful. It's not going to be a successful business model, and your company's not going to grow. So what are the problems that this causes when capture is not structured and not reviewable and not transparent, and only thing that's being presented to the executives and to the bid review boards are, when's it coming out, who's on our team, who are the competitors, and how much is it worth? Those are all valid and important pieces of information, pieces of data, but alone, they don't really increase your P-win. They don't tell the executives, here's what we're doing to make this opportunity, to increase the P-win in this opportunity. Here's how the solution development is coming. Here's how our customer engagement plan is coming. Here's how our call plan is coming. These things get kind of milled over in gate reviews, and gate reviews tend to be kind of just an overarching summary of an opportunity, but not the progress of the work that's doing. How well are we doing moving ourselves towards a higher P-win in that? Why is that important? Why should we be bringing these things up to executives and showing these things and talking about these things early, proactive again, right before the RFP comes out? Because it gives us time to address things like strategy, right? What is really our win strategy? So what are we proposing? What are we going to do? I'm speaking for myself, and no shame, no shade thrown on any companies, but I have worked on dozens of proposals that had absolutely no capture strategy, absolutely no proposal strategy, nothing other than this work. We found this on sam.gov, and we want to bid on it because this is the kind of work that we do. You put a proposal together, you go through the iterations and go through all the reviews, and people say, this proposal doesn't say anything, it's very vanilla. And all the proposal managers and writers go, yeah, because there's no strategy. There was nothing to tell us what to write to. There was no tailoring. There was no, I used the word bespoke, right? Nothing was bespoke. It's all generic. We just were using generic material. The tools and the AI tools that are going to help you identify opportunities off of sam.gov and help you write proposal compliance, you could marry those two together and put out 1,000 proposals a day. And that doesn't mean you're going to win a single one of them, because it's going to get lost in the noise of the 1,000 other proposals. When you have a structured proposal or a structured capture process with reviews that really dig into what are we doing to move these things forward, you can identify when your strategy is not coalescing, when you're not coming together. You can identify risks early on, things, the liquidation, liquidated damages clause, right? Things like that. What risks are there to our proposal effort, and being able to mitigate them. Like I said, shaping, right? Give yourselves time to maybe modify an opportunity, try and get it set aside, try to get it to 8A, try to get it not set aside, try to get it full and open, or push it to a vehicle or anything like that. These, with just kind of tracking, and we know it's coming out in March or it's coming out in April, without executive leadership being able to see into the progress of those elements and those work streams that go into the capture process, it's impossible to make the decisions of where to allocate resources and where to allocate your time and your efforts in the opportunities that really provide the best opportunity for winning. And rather than looking at things like dollar values and urgency and driving your resource allocations based on those two things, versus putting your resources on the ones that you really have the best shot of winning. The last part of this slide, it says there's kind of the proposal tools that are out there right now have made it really easy to submit compliant proposals. Like you said, for years, for 23 odd years that I've been doing this, right? It takes two things to win a proposal. Well, it actually takes three things: compliant, compelling, and then you got to have a good price. Everyone knows that. You got to have the right price. We're not talking about that today. That'll be a topic for a different webinar, a different day-long webinar to talk about the importance of price. But the two things that proposal managers, proposal folks, capture folks can kind of control, that compliant and that compelling. Compelling is going to become the most important. It is the most important, and even more important now, with the proliferation of these tools. So what does it cost you by not doing rigorous capture management, by not having a tool that allows you to see those insights down to that granular level of how is this really progressing, and are we really progressing and making progress, and not just moving along the timeline to that day when that RFP drops and everyone goes, oh, bleep, the RFP dropped. Now we've got to figure out our strategy. We have to figure out our win themes and all of that. So what does it cost you to pursue these things when you haven't gone through the rigor of all this? Wasted BMP, misused talent, opportunity cost. Those are all kind of very much related. You can work on one proposal for 1 month that's due in a month and spend $80,000 on it and lose. You say the RFP drops, hey, this looks good, we're going to bid on it. Bring in all your SMEs, your big proposal team, you spend 80 grand on it, and you're not going to win because you haven't done the capture work, you haven't done anything. This is the old adage: if the first time you're seeing that RFP is on sam.gov, or the first time you're seeing this opportunity is because your capture AI tool scraped it off sam.gov, you've already lost, right? Somebody knows about that opportunity, has been working that opportunity for way longer than that. So you need to get ahead of it. But so back to my example, we can work on something that dropped yesterday and is due in 30 days, and we can put 80 grand on that. Or we can work on something that's supposed to come out in 6 months, and we can spend 80 grand between now and that 6 months to make that proposal better. If all we're doing is tracking proposals, we're not tracking that progress along that. We're tracking, are we making the right decisions, and are we investing our BMP resources into the capture elements that are really increasing and driving P-win up? It allows executives, it allows proposal directors, VPs of business development, things to make decisions based on real progress, right? Where do we have the best shot of winning? Not just looking, as I said on the previous slide, not just looking at urgency and the value, but making decisions based on this. We have a P-win of 40% on this because we've done all the homework and we've done what we're supposed to do. We've been meeting with the customer. And that opportunity might be worth $20 million, right? Or $10 million. Or you can spend 80 grand on 1 month to a proposal that's going to lose, that's worth $100 million. A lost proposal is worth zero, regardless of the value, right? You bid on something that's $1 billion, you lose, it's worth zero. And you spend all that BMP money on it. Would you rather spend that BMP money on opportunities that you have a much better shot at winning, even if they're lower dollar value? And I think that's what's going to make a difference going forward in this industry, is who takes better aim at specific opportunities and targets specific opportunities and allocates their resources, their talent, to the ones where they have the best shot of winning, not just the ones that have the best, will have the best effect on your bottom line. Opportunity cost kind of goes hand in hand with that. If you're working on one thing, you're not working on something else. So being able to see the visibility into the process, into the capture process, and having more rigor and reviews in that allows executives to say, it's better for us to bid on this stuff over here, and we'll forego this. The ultimate cost of all of this, of not doing things the right way, of not doing all of this capture back legwork, is lost deals. And that results in lost BMP. It results in incorrect revenue forecasts, right? Your CFOs and your other finance folks are looking at the pipeline to see, what do we think revenue is going to be like in a year and 2 years and 3 years. Lost deals disrupt all of that. And I think a more kind of on a personal level, and to the proposal folks and professionals on this call, it's demoralizing. It's really demoralizing to work on proposals that you know or feel are not going to be successful because you don't have that capture strategy. You don't have any customer intimacy. You don't really know anything other than what's written on the RFP page about that customer. And then you lose, and then we get the debriefs, and it says, you might be greens across the board or yellows across the board, but you never got to that purple or blue, depending on the customer, whatever the highest is, because you had no insight or anything that. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to lose. It's frustrating to work on bids that you think are going to lose. And that leads to things like, dire straits for companies, layoffs, firings, things like that. Not to mention, when you win, if you work somewhere nice, you get a nice chunk of change, right? A bonus, right? So you're foregoing your actual personal revenue by pursuing opportunities that aren't that haven't gone through a rigorous and structured capture process with reviews, and using tools that provide the insight into really where do we stand on this opportunity, not just where does it stand in the calendar of when it's supposed to come out, or where does our company stand in terms of the competitive landscape for that specific opportunity. So how can AI tools help us get past this, help us do better capture? I'm going to hand the mic back to Ellen and let her talk about some of the cool stuff going on.
Oh, thank you so much, Brian. And I think you gathered so many of those things that, it's like so many of those, like pain points that you have, like, right, whenever you don't have that structured capture process, because and what AI can do to help with this is something that we saw really whenever we're looking at what really could we took time. We know about how it is to work regularly on these opportunities. So one thing that we saw that it would do is be there to help with providing that structure to help you go through it, right? As a capture manager, whenever you're working on opportunities, you have something that that you need to interact with the customer. There's so many things, as he mentioned, a capture involves acquisitions. It involves being able to do the solutioning. It involves all these different elements, right? You may find the bid, but one, can you even bid it? Do you have the vehicle? How are you going to, what do you know about the customer? What are you going to be able to get? Well, okay, so what AI is able to do is be there for you to show you what exactly you may have missed. One of the great things of it is it's not just something, even within the structures, to be able to show that those gaps and help you develop through. Let's say capture managers are not unfamiliar with having things thrown on them really very fast. Here it is, you run with it. And it's not something that you may have a large window for anyways. So use it to gather that intel. It is a great reviewer. Be able to also have ability to measure the way you are going through the process, how you can actually, how much am I missing? How much can I, how much more can I get, and give you that view of it really. and be that research assistant as you're going through it. So it gives an additive of being able to be that companion there for actually strategy development. Let's say you're going through and it's like, I have done this and this. Well, then it could ask you questions of what you may have missed, the gaps of the with the customer mission, and using like the ability to gather information that you may be able to find a more quickly, or being able to gather that those documents or those things that overviews of what you have gone through before, and being able to take those main points from those faster versus being able to really get a having it's a method of saving time and gathering and being that assistant for you. So the main key element is that having it be an assistant as you're going through those things, and have it be there to help you go through them. It's not something there to replace judgment on how you do things. It's there to assist you and give you the best method of getting through your process and getting you to a stronger win. So,
Yeah, I echo that. I love that you said that it's an assistant, right, to help with the kind of more of the tedious tasks, right? And we think about what we use AI tools on the proposal management side, right? Reviewing RFPs, reviewing Q&A. I used ChatGPT the other day. It didn't do a very good job, but I used ChatGPT the other day to help me kind of summarize like 400 questions Q&A on an RFP that I was looking at, and I was like, I've read it before. I don't want to read it again. Just summarize this and tell me. It's good at taking large chunks of information and distilling it down and making it something digestible. So things like, if you're pursuing an opportunity and you want to know more about the customer, you want to know more about their budget, you're going through the budget line items, going through previous RFPs, other things that have come out of that contract shop. You could spend days and days and days reading and reviewing those RFPs, or you could ask Claude to review this RFP, summarize it, take these 4 RFPs, summarize them, tell me the similarities, and what you think the instructions or evaluation criteria might be for a subsequent opportunity. It's very, very good at that. What it's not good at yet is creativity, to put it into a word, right? And that goes into solution development, win theme development, right? Meeting with your customer, meeting with the human beings who are ultimately going to whether or not they evaluate your proposal or use their own AI tool to evaluate, the human beings actually ultimately have to sign the contract, right? So you've got to appeal to those human beings on the other side of this game of telephone we play with the customer. And the only way, and AI can take all of the tedious stuff off your plate to allow capture managers and BD people to do those more human-centric, creative kind of things, knowing what the customer's problem is, not just what's written on the RFP of what they're buying, but really what their problem is and what your proposal needs to be solving for them.
exactly. No. And this is a great segue into saying that that's kind of that is what we put into with our development with Capture Pilot. So whenever we're looking at where you're really looking at it for how you can actually use AI for capture, it's both from the viewpoint of being able to like I had on the previous slide, being able to structure it. And I'm thinking of it both from a small company perspective and a large company perspective. You may not, from a small company, you may not know everything that you may need to do, and you may need guidance of what is the best next steps to be able to do it. So if you have something there that can actually help you guide you through those steps and have an idea of what can actually happen next by an AI that actually understands some the elements of capture, right? Or it has it programmed in. basically, to be able to give you those structured guidance that's continuous and repeatable, basically. And then there's also the ability of tracking. So you can actually have a means of actually reviewing and tracking capture as you're going through it. So instead of having the loss from those tools that don't that are simply doing the tracking of the opportunity, have it where it's actually tracking the development of your capture instead, and have it where it's actually helping you progress through your opportunity and moving it over to the proposal. So you're giving that beef to of actually showing the customer that, hey, I know this is what we actually have for you. This is what we can sell for you. We know this is what you're wanting. And that is the best way of pulling it out, and being able to ensure that it happens in a faster capacity for you. Like as Brian was saying, you could have stuff that happens quick, or you could have it over longer periods of time, right? Both situations, you have it where you need to be able to pull in that information. So for it, and capture is that process of doing it. We'll have AI help you pull it in faster. Have it and then, or also just have it as you're going through, if it's longer drawn out, where you can put in that information, have it be able to analyze it. So, and have it a constant method of filling out those plans that work. The ability to fill in one of those capture plans, because those things can be overwhelming, right? So actually being able to work through that entire process, have it being able to go through there and reminding you of things like being able to make sure you have the right acquisition strategy, making sure you talk to the client about certain points. And then if you did have those bluebirds, right, you're managing both. You have it increases capacity and resources to be able to manage more for your team. So to actually better utilize the resources that you have on hand is what we were thinking of whenever we came to develop those tools, both within Capture Pilot, Proposal Pilot. And for Capture, we think that is something that was really missing, that we really wanted to put our emphasis in and supporting, because it's such an important part of selling to your customers. So
I'll share with the group. Ellen gave me a little peek under the tent at Capture Pilot a few weeks ago, and it was one of the first kind of capture tool that she looked at, and I said, it's really asking the right questions, and it's really capturing the right information that and maybe I'm biased on this because I'm a proposal professional and proposal management professional. Ellen is as well, so is Arthur. We're all proposal people. And from a perspective of the proposal person, I was looking at Capture Pilot and thinking, this is, if you follow the prompts and use Capture Pilot the way it's supposed to be used, it will give the proposal people the information they need to make a winning proposal. And on the flip side of that, it gives a way for executives and other business development leadership to look at the status of the captures of these things and say which ones are really generating that information that's going to increase P-win and make the proposals more successful. It's an exciting tool. I guess it was one of the first ones where I was like, yes, you're asking the right questions. This is the information that needs to be presented to really make an assessment of where do we have our best opportunities to win and where should we allocate resources better. Like Ellen just said, all of these tools work to kind of eliminate the tedium and the monotonous kind of stuff that we have to do, that frees up our time to make the proposals better, to do the more creative things that drive P-win higher and make our companies more successful.
yeah. So the whole thing is making sure that you're using AI at the best capacity to actually accelerate business and accelerate contract awards, especially during this time when there were shifts. I mean, anytime when there's a shift in, like within administrations, but especially now, it's been a bit more hectic. So being able to maximize, your team's capabilities, if you happen to be strained on resources, right? And being able to have that tool there to assist what you have. So this is what we have so far. Actually, it's a very good point, because we actually have gone in to got about, we got like 10 minutes, honestly. So what
Through the
this
slides
is,
pretty quick
yeah,
to make sure that there was time for questions.
yeah. So we wanted to be sure we had time. So to see if there were any questions, hopefully, so we can get those to us. And then we can go ahead and see if we can answer anything. Okay, she doesn't see anything yet. So, um,
I'll have a question.
okay,
I'll ask a question. And
okay.
you and Arthur can yell at me later. When can we see Capture Pilot?
Actually, that's something that you can go ahead and book, and you can view Capture Pilot now. So, it's something that
I
we
can view
have.
Capture Pilot. What about
Yes,
everyone else? Everyone else can see it too?
everyone else can too. Yeah. No, we can show you Capture Pilot now. We can show you how it can work for your teams. And we're more than happy to show you exactly what we were talking about when it comes to the strategy. So, and this is part of it. It's like showing how it can help with the positioning to win for capture, basically. So it is something that works with. It can integrate with Proposal Pilot, or it can be something on its own. But we felt that that was something that was really missing from the AI out there. I wanted to be sure
And
that
Ellen, Brian, we have a question from Jimmy. For your solution, Capture Pilot is separate from Proposal Pilot, correct?
it is separate. Thank you so much for the question. So Capture Pilot is Turing took a modular approach for our tools. So you have the possibility, if you're at the area that you really need more development strength is in the capture area, you can do it can get it separately, but it does also integrate with Proposal Pilot as well. And so you can develop through those win themes into development to the proposal process.
Good question. That was going to be my next question. But I already knew the answer to that.
Okay. Questions?
I'm not currently seeing any more questions, folks. This is your chance. Doesn't necessarily need to be about this tool. Could be about Capture AI in general. Feel free to ask anything. We try to take an agnostic approach to these webinars. We don't want it necessarily to be a sales pitch. We're interested in discussing any and all questions concerning AI as it relates to GovCon.
That's a very good point. We're looking at it from the approach of exactly looking at how this best fits for making sure that companies have the information they need, and actually like trying to fill those gaps.
Hearing no questions so far, I'm going to ask a question. for Ellen and Brian. What are the benefits to the executive team of really seeing where a capture is at within a portal, or really understanding what that process is?
Go ahead.
Well, I think the real benefit is that making better resource allocation decisions, making better bid no bid decisions. I think we've all probably been on gate reviews or bid no bid boards and had opportunities get through that we felt shouldn't have, right? That should have been no bids, but ended up being bids because they were high dollar value, or it's some kind of sexy work, or something other than that. When we know from looking at from either from our participation on the proposal teams and stuff that really progress hasn't really been made to the point that we can confidently say we can bid on this and we can win. So I think what executives look for, or I think what these tools need to do, and again, being mindful of your instructions, Arthur, to be kind of agnostic, but what Capture Pilot lets executives do is really see how capture development, capture solutioning has progressed, and it's not just get overwhelmed by, well, this is $200 million, but we have a 10% P win. And so let's go after that because it's $200 million and I need to hit my numbers, uh, in forego the 50 million opportunity, $50 million opportunity that may have a 30% P win or 40% P win. Again, we could have a whole other webinar on how to determine P win, but we'll leave that aside. I think the real is not just, and I think one of the things that I loved about seeing Capture Pilot, and I hope to see in more tools, is taking some of the making it more objective rather than subjective, right? P-win is not gut feel, shouldn't be the gut feel of the capture manager. It shouldn't be driven by, I feel like we can win this, or I have a really good feeling about this. That's not a winning strategy, right? You need to have some kind of solution. And these tools should help executives make decisions based on that, based on evidence, right? That's the big business buzzword right now, evidence-based decision making, right? Evidence-based medicine. What does the data say? And if you're not collecting the right data in your tool, if your tool is simply collecting tracking type data of, when's it coming out, when's the dollar value and this or that, then it's not enabling your executives to make smart decisions on what you bid on and what you don't bid on, which ultimately costs companies money, right? We want to we want to make the right decisions and spend the majority of our money on opportunities we're going to win.
I mean, I had the situation where it's like I'm going in and I had to basically work on a pipeline, right? That was that it needed to be able to be updated, right? Because after someone left. And I think visibility is very important to executives, so they can see it early, basically, of where the potential holes are. And I think with AI, it gives you that capability of seeing it early whenever you're thinking of looking into it, versus waiting for that and giving overall complete trust. And even doesn't even have to do with trust. It has to do with, I'm seeing this and I'm like, well, I'd like this one a little bit more than that. I think, and giving that ability to have better communication with your team and see as you see the development. So, because everything has to do to make sure that everybody in the team understands what needs to be going at what time, and understanding where this capture can really, I was saying, like, I think when we talk, Brian, to make sure that you're putting your effort into what makes the most money, really.
All right, folks. I am not seeing any more questions or comments from the participants at this point. I would like to thank you, everyone who took time from their day to attend, and certainly thank you, Ellen and Brian. Now I would like to give you a quick chance, to plug your services and your expertise. Brian, if you want to tell us a little bit about, your consulting company and how they could reach you.
Sure. Yeah. So my consulting company is Oakleaf Ventures. You can find me on LinkedIn. Um, I provide proposal management search support, capture management search support, solution development, business development support. I really have kind of done it all in the in federal business development, everything from going out and meeting with customers to capture management, putting teams together, and solution development. That's really what I really enjoy is things like solution development. Those kind of pre-work things. If that was not apparent from this call, I like the creative kind of start of solving the problems that the customers are really having and helping people come to those solutions in a way that results in a scoreable, winnable proposal. Yeah, that's it, I don't have. I was going to say I have business cards, but I can't give business cards out over a webinar. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can shoot me an email. My email address is brian@oakleaf-ventures.com. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to anybody about anything new. I love talking shop, so I appreciate Ellen and Arthur asking me to come on this call and talk about it. I will talk ad nauseum about capture and proposal processes.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. Any final comments, Ellen, Brian?
Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. And yeah, if anybody is interested, please don't forget they can reach out for Turning On to be able to view either of our tools. So,
Well, in that case, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Until next time.
Thank you very much.
thank you.